Hi, Leandro.
Hello.
So, I am a very new father. Thanks to my son, who is 2.5 year old, and we have recently put him into pre-nursery. And the best part is, I'm fortunate enough to always go ahead and drop him to the school. Now, the very fortunate thing about all this thing is I see him going to school, and the small innocence, the beauty which he carries, all those. I'm really very lucky enough to see my son going with that small kid making to the school of 2.5 year old. Just for an example, as soon as he gets down from the car, he has his small hands to carry his luggage. Then around the neck, he has a bottle which he takes, and the distance from the car to the classroom is one of the beauty which is outside this world. If given anybody an opportunity to see it, I would really go ahead and see that innocence. Other than me, there are other parents who come and enjoy their such beauties of their children. Now, a couple of days back, I was going ahead and dropping my son Vihan, and I noticed a child sitting in a corner of a road, and I saw him stitching shoes. Yeah, and when I saw him, I saw the clothes were shattered, the hairs were here and there, the face was black, obviously because of the polish, the business which he was in. The eyes were very innocent, and I could see the pain the pain in the vibes which he was sending across. I really wanted to go ahead and talk to him. Somehow I controlled my nerves and I went back to home. The next day again, when I came back to drop my son Vihan, I noticed that kid again on the road sitting in the corner. This time I couldn't be better off my nerves. I went straight ahead to the kid with my shoes in my hand, because I knew if I go without any business to him, he won't take me seriously. So I didn't want to make this as a casual business for him. I went with my shoes, and as soon as I went there, I showed him my shoes, and he told the very first thing, "भैया आप रोज अपने बच्चों को छोड़ने आते हो स्कूल में?" And I was hit by a surprise, because he'd been noticing me from so many days, and I just noticed him a few days back. I mean, we people do a blind eye when we see such kind of kids around us. That was a way which he encouraged a casual talk, because of which I tend to ask him about his daily activity, about his life. Where does he come from? How does he sit here? Nobody stops him to sit from there or not. Why is he doing that business? How about his schooling activities and all? When I spoke to him, I understood. He is from a very slum area. He is Jatin. He is 6-year-old and he's been doing cobbling from last couple of years. He's a 6-year-old and doing cobbling from last 6 years, which gave me a big hit. When further understood, he told me that every day in the morning till the sunset, he sits on the house roof and do the stitching of the shoes. Now, other works which he does is he sew the shoes, he stitch the shoes, he cut the hard leather, thick leather into the shoes. This makes his hands to ache constantly, most of the time bleeding. And that was my first thing when I noticed this guy. His hand was wrapped with a bandage. So now this is a fate of most of the children in India we have. Many children across the country, we have such kind of children who are having such kind of fate, and that is the topic for today's session. So today's topic, so that would be the topic for today's No Child is for Sale. That is child slavery or child labor, however we put it. My name is Jasveer, and I'll be presenting you for next 5-10 minutes we have today. The basic understanding, we all understand the simple terminology, child labor. We see it every day throughout our life. Together today, we would be covering some of the important points I'll talk about. We will talk about the root causes, why it's happening across the country. Second, we would talk about what you and me, how can we make that difference. We'll start with the causes. That's a very important cause, cheap labor. Now, children, unlike adults, they are unskilled and they are very cheaply available, which is a very high demand in the industry with such entrepreneurs who are looking out to gauge such kind of resources, because they really do not have to pay them very high. And the margin of their profit for such entrepreneurs is very high when they hire such kind of labor, which is very easily available. The slum is one of the biggest target for them. They like in colleges we have hiring. Similarly, in slum areas, they go ahead and do this kind of hiring. They go to slum areas and pick out children and make them to work. That's one of the main causes cheap labor. The second is the poverty. Now we all know India is suffering big times with the poverty. We've been trying to fight out this poverty out of our country, out of our roots, but somehow this is there and it is the main cause to put children into the child labor. Third is our early marriages. Now we all know in villages in rural part of India still this exists. However, now the crowd who are educated, they are more sensible, they understand the benefit of marrying at a stage when you are already settled. But in rural areas still, where the children are put to marriage at an age of less than 8 and between 8 to 15, the children are already married for people who are living in slums. Now this forces the parents because the fertility of the children are very high, so they produce more children. Now the older children in the family are put to work to support the family. So early marriages again is a very big cause. High cost of education. Now illiteracy is indirectly related to illiteracy. Because of high cost of education, which slum people are not able to afford, this leads to illiteracy, and because of which we have the children do not really understand the importance, really do not understand, they are not able to motivate themselves internally and are not able to push themselves to next level from where they are currently. The very last point and very important for me, I take this personally, and I think low aspiration is a main cause. I have seen many slum people, I have seen many children who, for them working in a factory, for them working in somebody's house, for them stitching somebody's shoes is a normal part of life. It is only because they really do not have any desire, they really do not have any ambition in their life. Now, if that would have been missing in all the slums people, we wouldn't have got these two faces. APJ Abdul Kalam and Lal Bahadur Shastri. They were very high in their mentality, they were very high in their thinking, they belong to a slum area. Today they are one of the greatest leaders we have ever produced. There are so many followers, they've been inspiration to the people. And that is why I think the main cause is low aspiration. We have to make sure somehow we remove this mentality from this slum people and get them to a level wherein they understand that if they want, they can achieve whatever they want. That's very important to imbibe in them. Now, I've got certain stats and figures which, according to Indian census, if I have to highlight this area, if you see, this is a world map. Now, this talks about Asia, which is 60%, we have child labor. Then we have 23% affected in Africa, and the rest 8% is from South America. Asia is one of the highest in this. Now, if you see here, India comes to the second highest place in child labor. Followed by, in fact, it is led by Africa, which accounts the highest number of child employed and exploited. That is according to Indian census. Right? This is very important stat which I got, a pie chart representation. If you see this here, it is a beautiful representation which actually helps us to understand where are these children involved. So if you see, 46% of the children are involved in collecting bottles. Then we have other part as shoe polishing is another business. Maximum children would be found here. We have car washing, selling, and wood collection. I think here we are missing agriculture, because I've seen many children in agriculture also. Because I come from a native place, Haryana, where I've seen small children less than 12 years of age are working into agriculture, doing into farmings. So I think that is something which is missing here. So this is as per according to Indian census. Now, what I would talk about is how you and me can make a difference. The very first thing is our ethics. We shouldn't forget our ethics. Morally, we should say no to child labor. We have to make sure whenever we see any child on the road, on the hotel, on the shoe, on anywhere working, we have to make sure we say no to child labor. It is easy to say that, but then how can we stop that? So we have a number which is a complaint number which is 1098, which is there here. So you can dial this number anytime and complain about any child slavery you see on the road. That's the very first thing. And we have to make sure in our house, if we have any child labor, doing our utensils, cleansing our home stuffs, we have to make sure we avoid it. The next thing which we can make a difference, there are many things which we can do to make a difference. It is not just the government, it is not just the God who will come down and help. These are the two main differences which I have put down. The second is teaching. We should go ahead and join an NGO if not possible to do that by alone. There are many such NGOs like Save Our Children, Child Age Homes. There are many such NGOs who are there who go ahead and teach children. Now, because this is the main reason, as we saw in the causes, illiteracy. If we can go ahead and teach the children, the mentality would automatically impact. Because of this mentality, we could make sure that the child labor from India is removed. So, my conclusion for today's session is, we should make sure that the innocence of child is not being utilized by any adults for their profit. That's it. Thank you.